everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with Freeze Friday, and it's Friday. It's not even noon? Well, yeah, it is. It's 1:08 Friday afternoon. I have no idea what time it is. I'm going to do this quickly. First off, I have to confess to an unintentional purchase, and this is kind of a silly story. Normally, when I order from Amazon, I do the buy now. I see it, I buy it, I go ahead and get the order in, and I know that Amazon will combine orders to me if they're coming from the same place and so forth. So I don't really worry about filling a cart with a number of items. But the other day I ordered some stuff from Alexa, and there were several, so I just told her to put them in the cart, not realizing that the cart had in it an item that I had put in the cart a long time ago, and it's these gorgeous Thinlits dies of, I think this must have been last fall, because I love the skeleton leaves. I use leaves, I always find when I have florals, I use the leaves long before the florals are done, and so I can always use something like this, or even some of the others on, green paper. But for fall, this is great, but it works, any time of year. In any case, I'm glad I have them. I didn't intend to buy them. They were in my cart. I didn't check my cart on Alexa when I said go ahead and place the order, and they arrived, and I thought, well, this is a nice surprise. And I went back and looked at my purchase history, and there it was. So a small purchase. I think it might have been $15. I'm not sure, but there are 5 dies in here. They're good Tim Holtz dies. Anyway, let's go to, so that's all I spent. I did order some photo paper and I guess I ordered the black cardstock last week, and I talked about that last week. So I think I'm all filled up on cardstock, and now I have photo paper. I decided to order it instead of buying the Epson paper. There is another brand of paper that works really, really well on my Epson printer, and it's Ink Press. And I learned about it when I took a photography class in 2010. Hard to believe that was 10 years ago, here in Atlanta. And the company that, the photography store, the camera store that offered the classes went away, but they've maintained their classes, and I'm really glad because I need to go back and take a refresher course. But when I took it, they told me about ink press paper, and of course they sold it, and I had to drive into Atlanta to buy it because I wasn't an Amazoner as much then as I am now. So I found it on Amazon, and it is the 12 by 12. When you see me print 12 by 12 backgrounds or mixed media stuff that I've done so that I can use it again as a background, or printing a digital layout on 12 by 12, it's Ink Press double-sided matte finish paper that I use. So I didn't even know, I buy it in 12 by 12. I didn't even know they had it in 8.5 by 11, so I bought it in 8.5 by 11. It's double-sided just like my other paper, and it's actually maybe $5 or $6 less for 50 sheets than Epson paper. I still will probably get the Epson paper because it's a little bit different finish, and I do like the finish that it has, a very smooth matte. Anyway, let's move on. These are the layouts I made this week. I'll have to turn them over to remember the challenges. This one is called Call Me Kath. It was one of the 30 days of sketches. It was sketch number 3, and it was a load prompt about passing down names. And that's my grandmother, my grandmother, Catherine Sheridan, and my mother, Kathleen, and me, Catherine, and my granddaughter, Katie. whose name is really Catherine. So I just named it Call Me Kath, and found photos of us all around the same age. Katie's 18, I was 19, my mother was 20, and my grandmother was 21, I think. So kind of, that's kind of how we all looked at that age. This is a page about Barrett driving. This was a Scrap Squad Sunday lift for last Sunday. This was the original, and then this was one that Rebecca Meadows did that I absolutely adore, and I kept it on the back here because I want to do this exact same page when I get just the right photos. I love her color combination. I love everything about this. And so I used scraps and trash, and I threw the kitchen sink at this page, and I love it. It just kind of came out. I edited the photos, ran them through the waterlog filter, and it kind of disguised something that was going on in that picture, and I think the photos themselves weren't all that interesting, but the story was kind of interesting. This one is one that about something we've passed down, or was passed down to us. This was the sketch that I used. The load prompt was about this, and the thing we passed on to our son was a love of baseball. Just a few days before that prompt came out, my son came in wearing this 1986 All-Star Game t-shirt for the Houston Astros, and I asked him where he'd gotten it, and he bought it just recently, not like in the last 2 or 3 years, certainly not since 1986, but it's made to kind of look aged. So I stamped a stamp I have, background stamp I have that has baseballs, and you can kind of see the stitching there. And then I scanned it, I stamped it, scanned it, and then blew it up and printed it. And this is my 12 by 12 double-sided paper from Ink Press. And when I blew it up that way, it really took the oxidized parts. You can see the oxidized part of that ink, and you can see the pigment part when you get that close up, when you blow it up. So that I ought to send that to Tim Holtz and kind of show him what the ink looks like under a microscope almost. So, and I picked out, I have here all of the stats from that All-Star game, the lineups, and kind of some stories hidden back in here. And then I did quite a lot of journaling right there. So I like that page. This one I called This Is Us because that's actually James's favorite television show. He hadn't quite gotten anybody interested in it except Ava. Barrett said that he would watch This Is Us if Grandma and Grandpa would watch Kingdom. And I don't know if you've seen Kingdom. It's on Netflix right now. It's very, very hard to watch in some spots, but we watched all 3 seasons, and I thought it was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. I really love it. And so now that we've watched that, Barrett has to watch This Is Us, and I'm going to have to check him on that. I'm going around stapling where the washi tape wrapped around. I don't think that will interfere with the design. The flowers are a fussy cut from a Vicki Boutin paper from Wildflower and Honey. It was really easy to wrap that around a doily and kind of stick the picture out. This is probably one of the easiest pages I've ever done. This was the sketch, and I did not cut a circle. I did not use these other pieces there. I did the square around it with washi tape. So let me put that aside. This one is called Curly. It's something about a physical trait that we've passed down. The other one was something we inherited, and most people talked about this beautiful vase or a piece of jewelry or something like that they got from their great-grandmother. I didn't have, I had no such inheritances, but I passed on my curly hair to Katie right here and Ava here. And so I'm saying that and I used a background paper from Heidi Swapp. It's old school, and the other side of it is just as good. I put the label on, but I didn't fill it out. So I'm gonna put that aside and do that before I file it in an album. This one was a true scrapbook. It's called Perfect Smile, and it was 30 days and load, and I forget what the load prompt was, and I didn't mark it down because I think this was one of the days that I was sick. I had a shingle shot, and it really threw me for a loop. I'm fine now. My arm hurts like crazy, and it's about twice its normal size and has a great big red welt that's got a really hard center. But other than that, everything's great. I feel human, and I'm not running a fever, so that's good. These were just things I had in my crazy bowl, and I just kind of slapped them down, and I know that wasn't the kind of photos, and this was supposed to be banners, and this was supposed to be stitched, and there were supposed to be tags, and I didn't do any of that. I used bits from a leftover from some Palooza kits that Christina had sent us. This was another one that was kind of a mess. A lot of this on top is from Cocoa Vanilla Daydream. And this back part, the background paper, and these two pieces are from my Mind the Scrap kit. And I threw in these pieces from Paige Evans just to kind of acknowledge that there's a lot of purple in the altered photo. And it's not about Katie riding her bicycle, as you might think. It's about Ava trying out Barrett's skateboard back here. And it's just hilarious. And I don't think anybody noticed. I think James took this photo. I don't think he noticed it when he took the photo that she had kind of slid into the frame. So I love this photo. Anyway, this one is one that I did I did this yesterday for Mixed Media Frenzy today, and it doesn't follow a load prompt, nor does it follow a 30 days sketch. The original that we were lifting in Mixed Media Frenzy was this one, which I adore. And one of these days, I want to find the perfect photo, and I want to replicate this exactly as it is, as close as I can get to exactly this. There's a lot more mixed media going on there than I did in mine. Mine started out with a pre-made Vicki Boutin mixed media page, which looks like she had some washi tape that was, torn edges and maybe ripped and stuff on the page, and then she just did paint or ink or something around and then pulled the tape off. And I love that paper, and I love that particular shade of green, that citron. I decided to stamp on it with a couple of my mixed media stamps. There's the newsprint here, and then there's some text that's upside down, or some script that's upside down, and there's some music notes, and same day here's some sheet music. And then I used these acetate. I'm trying to get them so that you can kind of see without the glare. When I took the still photograph, I must have taken 50 of them to try to not have the glare. And it wasn't, the light wasn't right outside, and so inside I have no choice but to take it with the light that I use for filming, this light that's holding my camera and then I'm pushing it up by. But I love how this turned out. I used some Paige Evans tickets and some Bramble Fox perspectives, along with some acrylic stars that I got from Christina. It's a Happy Christina Day page. This came from Bramble Fox. The little acetate pieces that look like stamps came from Christina. So did this. That was my very first Vicki Boutin product that I ever had, was the 9 by 11, I think, is the size that it was, paper pad from that first collection. I think it might have been All the Good Things. What I love about it are the black leaves with the white, skeleton over them. Those drinking straws I've had for years and years. These little things are flower centers that you saw on the very first layout that I showed you. And I just kind of used a bunch of stuff on here. And it's about when Ava used to be my gardening buddy. She would come down every day. This is one I just finished, and it is going to be out there. I've made a video of it that is, let me check the computer and see if it's finished loading. It's processing the HD version. The SD is complete. So I'm going to go ahead and publish that. And it should be out there for you to see. In a minute, I'll publicize it and get it out there, obviously, before this video goes live. But this last one, the load prompt was about doing things differently from others around you, kind of based on the Principality of Monaco, which operates its monarchy very differently from other monarchies in Europe. And so it sent me to my old scrapbook from 2001 when I had scrapped, and if you can call it that, it was a photo album, and I stuck a bunch of memorabilia in it and very little journaling, and there was absolutely no decoration on the pages. But and the photos, I used the original photos. I actually had to take a picture of the photo. I couldn't get the photo out of the album in order to scan it, so I took this. This is a photo of the photo in the album taken with my iPhone. So that's how good the iPhone cameras are. This one, I took the photo and then I ran it through a filter, so you really can't recognize this guy because I'm pretty sure he's still working as a tour guide, and I say some things here. The thing that we do differently is on the day after we've been scared out of our wits by the driving of this guy, instead of reporting him to the tour company and never laying eyes on him again, we hired him for the next day because he just knew so much about the area and was so enthusiastic and so personable, and I knew he'd talk to us about ideas he had for the next day, and the next day turned out to be our anniversary. And one of the places he took us to is this gallery. It doesn't look like a gallery, it looks like someone's home, but it was a beautiful gallery. There was a sculptor named Toutain, who he was the dealer for, and Toutain's works are mostly giant brass sculptures that are, or bronze sculptures that are in playgrounds and places all over France. He's kind of a community sculptor, if you will. But we found a small piece. I guess I should show that on camera at some point, or at least a photo of it. I'll do a page about it, so you'll see that. I'll find some way to fit it into some prompt that I'm going to get in some challenge in the future. Seeing that scrapbook, I'm going to start scrapbooking a lot of photos from it. So anyway, that was our 20th anniversary in 2001, so a 19-year-old trip that scared us out of our wits. So I called it Scary Road Trip, and used entirely, everything on this page is Go the Scenic Route by Paige Evans' new collection, except the fake stitches, which came from a thrift shop in Denver. So anyway, that's it. My unintentional purchase, a layout that I have to complete the label on, and a video that'll be up for you to view soon. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.